Owner should be paid an hourly rate for working on the jobs. In other words, you must set your rate per hour for any physical work you do on the job, and it should be the highest rate in the shop. And I've said for years that a contractor should pay themselves at least $45 an hour, and over the last couple of years, my thinking is that you should be paying yourself $50, $55, maybe as high as $60 an hour for working on the job. Now, what I mean by working on the job, that includes not only physically hammering and banging and doing tearing out and adding and moving things on jobs from day to day to day, but I'm also talking about you as an owner driving around delivering materials to somebody that didn't get the materials ordered in a proper time on their job. Now they're sitting there, you got 3 guys sitting there on a job, and they call you and need 4 sheets of plywood immediately so they can finish the decking on a roof. Okay? If you're going to do that, your time should have been on the estimate sheet at $45 an hour minimum or whatever it is, and when you drive to the job site, you make darn sure at the next pay period that you get paid for delivering that material to that job site. That is a job cost. Okay? Now, next issue. Owner being paid a salary, which is an overhead expense. Owner's paid a salary to own and run the company. You're the owner, you're taking the risk, you are entitled to be being paid for that, not grabbing the profits. I'm talking salary out of the overhead. That's an expense the company has to pay you once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month for owning and running the company. Again, that's an overhead expense. Okay? Now, next issue. Owner being paid a straight commission or on a percent of completion basis. You're paid straight commission if you're selling for the company, and if you're running jobs, you're paid based on percentage of completion. I'm a firm believer the job superintendent should be paid based on percent of completion. That gets the job done. No excuses, no stories. Same with selling for a company. If you pay somebody on straight commission, they get in and they get things sold. If they don't sell, they don't eat. Real simple. Okay? Now, should you be paid on all 3 of those? The answer is yes. Okay? Now, if you're being paid a salary, X number of dollars, okay, and you take time out to work on a job, then what you do is you figure out the percentage difference on those and subtract the percentage. If you work on jobs 10% of the time, then you subtract 10% of your salary off and pay yourself an hourly wage over here for the hours you worked on the job. That keeps things balanced, and you keep everything according to the way you've got it laid out. Okay, so you don't pay yourself for working on jobs and a full salary and a commission and a percentage of completion. All right, that's kind of like double dipping, and you got to be a little bit careful about that because the system you have set up only has so much money to pay for all the work that's being done. So figure that out ahead of time and then proceed accordingly to pay yourself. But do pay yourself. One of my cardinal rules is you'll pay yourself a fixed salary once a week, once every 2 weeks, or whatever. And most contractors don't do that. When contractors come to me for coaching, most of them are not paying themselves a regular salary. So this is something you should be aware of.